Big shifts are happening right now, and if you're a senior veteran or someone relying on VA disability benefits, this is something you absolutely need to hear. In 2025, under a new executive order signed by former President Donald Trump, significant changes to VA disability compensation are being rolled out, and the effects could be life-changing for thousands across the country. Whether you're already receiving benefits or you're thinking about filing a new claim, understanding these updates is critical because some of the new measures could either increase your monthly payments or, in some cases, create new hurdles that weren't there before. One of the biggest changes revolves around how disability ratings are calculated. Trump's order introduces a more streamlined but stricter evaluation system, aiming to modernize assessments based on updated medical guidelines. This means certain conditions that previously guaranteed a higher rating might be reevaluated under new standards. For some, this could mean an automatic review of existing ratings, and yes, that could impact the amount of money you receive every month. Another major shift is the introduction of faster claims processing. While that sounds like good news, and in many cases, it will be, there's a catch. Claims will now undergo an additional digital screening stage. This means that while decisions could come quicker, denials could also happen faster if paperwork isn't perfectly in order. Missing a deadline or submitting incomplete information could hurt you more than ever under this new system. Perhaps the most talked about aspect of Trump's 2025 VA order is the expanded list of presumptive conditions tied to military service, especially for veterans exposed to toxins and hazardous environments. This could be a huge win for many seniors who have fought for years to have their illnesses recognized as service-connected. But it's not automatic. Veterans must still file new evidence in many cases, and not knowing the specifics could mean missing out on the benefits you deserve. These changes are not just political noise. They are active, real-time adjustments that will directly affect your wallet, your healthcare, and your peace of mind. If you rely on VA disability, or if you plan to in the future, understanding Trump's new 2025 order could be the key to protecting your benefits and making sure you don't lose a single dollar you've earned. Now, let's break down what all of this really means for you in a way that's simple, clear, and absolutely real, because the last thing you need is more confusing government talk. First off, the change in how disability ratings are evaluated is something that every veteran should be paying close attention to. Under the old system, it wasn't perfect, but there were established guidelines that most veterans had learned to navigate over time. Doctors, caseworkers, and even service officers knew roughly how the VA would look at conditions like PTSD, hearing loss, respiratory illnesses, and more. Now, with Trump's 2025 order, the evaluation sheets are being updated to match modern medical practices. In theory, that sounds fair. Who doesn't want the latest science to guide decisions? But the truth is, anytime you change the rulebook, you create winners and losers. Some veterans might see their disability ratings go up because the new criteria better capture the severity of their condition, but others might actually see reductions if the updated standards are stricter in how they define impairments. And it's not just about new claims. The VA is authorized under this new directive to proactively review certain existing ratings to ensure compliance with updated guidelines, which is government speak for, we might be rechecking your case whether you want us to or not. Imagine you've been receiving a 60% rating for years. You've budgeted your life around that check. You're managing your bills, your medications, maybe even helping your family a little with that money. Now, suddenly, your case gets flagged for a review because the updated evaluation guide says your condition no longer warrants the same percentage. That's a devastating hit, not just financially, but emotionally too. That's why it's absolutely essential to be proactive. Don't wait for a letter in the mail. Stay informed. If you have a service officer, a VSO, or an advocate you trust, start a conversation now about what your specific conditions might look like under the new system. The VA is supposed to offer appeals and re-examinations if your benefits are affected, but the burden of proof, as always, largely falls on you, the veteran. Now, when it comes to claims processing changes, there's a lot of excitement, but it's a double-edged sword. Trump's order demands that the VA modernize its systems, promising quicker decisions through AI-assisted reviews and digital pre-screenings. On one hand, this could mean the end of those endless backlogs that have plagued the VA for decades. Seniors who filed claims sometimes had to wait 18 months, 24 months, or even longer to get a decision. That's unacceptable, and any effort to speed things up is welcome. But here's the catch. Faster decisions often mean fewer second chances. Under the old system, if a claim reviewer saw something missing, they might reach out for clarification. Now, if the AI or digital screener flags your application as incomplete, it could get kicked back or denied automatically. No questions asked. That's a serious risk for seniors who may have difficulty gathering medical records, service documents, or nexus letters. Imagine you send in your paperwork, feeling confident that you included everything necessary. A month later, you get a notice saying your claim was denied because of insufficient documentation. No warning. No heads up. Just a denial letter. Under the new system, reapplying or appealing could be an even bigger headache, with tighter timelines and more technical hurdles. This is why it's crucial to be meticulous. Check your documents, double-check them, and if you're not sure, get help from an accredited VA claims expert before you submit anything. The stakes are too high now to hope that good intentions alone will be enough. Another key part of Trump's new VA disability changes is the expanded list of presumptive conditions. This is one area where there's real cause for hope. For years, veterans exposed to toxic burn pits, Agent Orange, contaminated water at places like Camp Lejeune, and other hazardous environments have been fighting to have their illnesses recognized without needing mountains of extra proof. With this executive order, the VA is expanding the presumptive list again, especially for respiratory cancers, autoimmune disorders, and neurological conditions. That means if you served in certain locations during certain periods and now have one of these conditions, the VA will automatically presume it's service-connected. No more having to jump through endless hoops to prove that breathing in toxins caused your lung disease or that your exposure to chemicals led to your Parkinson's diagnosis. But, and it's a big but, the process still isn't automatic for everyone. Veterans will need to file supplemental claims citing the new presumptive conditions, and some will need updated medical opinions tying their conditions to the service dates and locations listed. If you don't take action, you could miss out on thousands of dollars in back pay and future benefits. There's also a limited window for some claims to qualify for retroactive compensation, meaning that if you file late, you might lose money that would have otherwise been yours. It's so important to move quickly once these new conditions are officially listed. Waiting could literally cost you thousands. One important thing to keep in mind is that this executive order also includes changes to how medical evidence is treated. For a long time, veterans could submit what's called buddy statements, personal testimonies, and private doctor opinions to help bolster their claims. Under the 2025 rules, those types of evidence will still be accepted, but they may carry less weight if not supported by VA-approved medical evaluations. Basically, the VA is putting more emphasis on its own healthcare system to validate conditions. That can be a big problem if you live in an area with limited VA medical facilities or if getting an appointment is a months-long ordeal. Seniors, who might already struggle with transportation or health issues, are particularly vulnerable under this change. Think about how many veterans live in rural America. Places where the nearest VA hospital could be 2, 3, even 4 hours away. If your claim depends on getting an official VA diagnosis and you physically can't get there easily, how fair is that system really? These are real concerns that veterans groups are already raising, but for now, the rules are moving forward. You'll need to plan ahead, schedule exams early, request second opinions if you can, and stay persistent even if the process feels stacked against you. Another thing that's flying under the radar with these changes is how the VA plans to use technology for ongoing evaluations. Trump's order directs the VA to start incorporating wearable health tech into its disability assessments. In the future, veterans might be asked to use wearable devices that track movement, heart rate, oxygen levels, and more. This could help provide more accurate health snapshots, but it also raises serious privacy concerns. Will seniors have to wear monitors just to prove their disabilities? Will the VA penalize someone if their wearable shows a good day, even though their condition flares unpredictably? These questions don't have clear answers yet, but they're very real possibilities. Veterans need to be aware that as technology becomes part of the claims process, new responsibilities and risks could come with it. It's also worth noting that Trump's 2025 order introduces a major cultural shift inside the VA. The department is being told to operate more like a private insurance company, focusing on efficiency, accountability, and measurable outcomes. On the surface, that sounds great. Who doesn't want a government agency to be more efficient and customer-focused? But there's a darker side to that shift. Private insurance companies are notorious for denying claims, delaying payments, and putting the burden of proof squarely on the patient. If the VA adopts that same mentality too aggressively, veterans could find themselves in a fight for every penny, every diagnosis, and every treatment they need. It's something to watch closely in the months ahead. Looking at the big picture, Trump's changes are designed to create a faster, more modern VA system that theoretically works better for veterans. But the reality is, not every veteran will benefit equally. Seniors, especially those dealing with multiple chronic illnesses, complicated medical histories, or limited access to technology, could face new challenges they weren't expecting. It's not fair, but it's the truth, and the best way to protect yourself is to stay informed, stay connected to resources, and fight for every benefit you've earned. If you're feeling overwhelmed hearing all of this, you're not alone. Major changes like these can feel confusing and scary, especially when you depend on these benefits to live day to day. But there's also an opportunity here. Veterans who stay proactive, who seek advice early, and who carefully prepare their claims could end up better off under the new system. If you have a condition newly added to the presumptive list, you could finally get the recognition and the compensation that you've deserved for years. If you gather your paperwork now and keep it updated, you can avoid a lot of the pitfalls that will trip others up. It all comes down to preparation. Make sure you have copies of your medical records, service records, and any previous VA correspondence. If you haven't had a health checkup recently, schedule one now. Get everything in writing. If your doctor supports your disability claim, ask them to put it in clear, direct language that ties your condition to your military service. Don't rely on the VA to fill in the blanks for you. That's a risk you can't afford to take under the 2025 rules. It's also a smart move to connect with organizations that can help. Veteran service organizations like the American Legion, Disabled American Veterans (DAV), and Veterans of Foreign Wars (VFW) have trained advocates who know the system inside and out. They can help you file claims, appeal decisions, and understand your rights under the new rules. Many of these services are free or very low cost for veterans. Don't try to navigate this alone if you don't have to. And don't underestimate the power of persistence. The VA system has never been easy to navigate. It's full of red tape, frustrating phone calls, confusing forms, and long waits. These new changes might make some parts better, but they will definitely make some parts harder too. If you get a denial letter, don't just throw your hands up and quit. Appeal it. Fight it. Gather more evidence. Get support. Every dollar of disability compensation you receive isn't charity, it's something you earned through your service to this country. As these new policies roll out through 2025, stay tuned for updates. Executive orders often lead to additional rulemaking and clarifications from the VA. Some of the rough edges in these policies might get smoothed out over time. There may be new programs, pilot tests, or even legal challenges that affect how everything plays out. Staying informed isn't just about reading one news article or watching one video. It's about making a commitment to protect your benefits the same way you protected this country when you wore the uniform. So while these changes might feel overwhelming now, remember, knowledge is power. Preparation is protection. You've already fought hard for your benefits. Don't let confusion, delay, or new bureaucracy take them away from you. Stay alert, stay strong, and stay connected because the future of your VA disability benefits depends on it more than ever.